everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for episode 12 of Survivor 45. My name is Mike Bloom, and we are recapping the Dirty Dozen, the penultimate episode of Survivor 45 has happened, and talk about tall poppy syndrome as old Lanky Blanky gets his legsy blegsies cut out from under him. Drew is gone! And what a way to go out. Was a really big episode for Drew in multiple ways. And we'll have a lot of chatter both about the episode as well as how this sets up our finale. Only one more episode. So I am joined by, of course, the co-owner of the B&B here, Liana Boraas. Liana, right before coming on here, we were talking about our top 5 favorite packing materials in honor of the upcoming holiday season. You want to give a quick list? Top 1, 2, 3, if you have so many?
I feel like I have my bottom 3.
Okay.
I don't like the feel of cardboard. I don't like the feel of styrofoam. And I don't like the packing peanuts. That would be my bottom 3. Actually, no, wait. I take that back in the packing peanuts. You know how there's the 2 types of packing peanuts? There's like the more styrofoam.
Yeah, the edible and non-edible.
Wait, can you eat them?
No, don't. I mean, you can. They dissolve on your tongue.
The corn ones. The ones
corn
that look like
ones?
little corn
the
puffs.
doodles?
The one that they look like corn puffs. You know what I'm talking about? The like natural styrofoam ones. The the tube round ones. Can you eat those? Because I've always wanted to try to eat them.
So I'm pretty sure you can put them in your mouth and they dissolve on your tongue. So they're like, technically, I don't think they're flavored in any way.
I mean, you can add spices, Mike. Okay.
All right, I'll take some Old Bay to my next batch of packing peanuts.
A big old bowl of packing peanuts.
Well, we're unwrapping a gift for you this week, whether it be in cardboard or edible packing peanuts. We're joined not only by our third wheel this week, but a fourth as well, as we're going to vroom, vroom, baby, right through this podcast. So excited to welcome, talking about the power couple of the season, the power couple of RHAP, one of many, Jenny Autumn, Phil T. How you doing?
I'm great. I thought you were about to like slight Liana and Puya right in front of her face.
Audible in the moment.
One of. You're like, you caught yourself.
One of. Yeah. Lovely couple.
This is awkward.
Good save.
Yeah. You picked up. I think it's hilarious that you are talking about there being 4 wheels on this podcast, because like the wheels are already off. The wheels will fall off. We just tried to put them back on to start the podcast. Good luck keeping the wheels on with the 2 of us being here at least.
4 walls, build a home. 4 wheels, build a car. And we're going to drive to the podcast paradise, baby.
Yeah.
Ooh. I love just like going on the journey of like where a sentence might take you.
Oh, listen, we're wanting to be about a minute ago, and I very much agree with that.
So to your point, Mike.
Yes.
Packing materials. Listen, how this conversation got started. I actually don't remember how the conversation got started, but I am with Liana that styrofoam is the devil. Shrink wrap, also the worst. Bubble wrap, kind of delightful, despite being adjacent to terrible things like shrink wrap and like hard plastic things. But you know what? When it comes to like a good packing material that I think needs more love is the plain, like the like brown paper, like that crafty brown paper that you can like wrap a gift in, and it just looks like boring, but kind of like
you wrap like plates and stuff. I feel like in it,
right?
Yeah, it's like thick and like, but also you can use it as wrapping paper and then like put a cool ribbon on it to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And it's very like neutral. It's like, hey, this looks like artisan, you know?
That's interesting. Yeah, because it does sort of hint that like Pier 1,
Yeah, exactly. It makes something look fancy and like crafty when it's like it could be anything. It's just brown paper. I don't know. I think it looks like a paper lunch bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like
thicker.
And anyway, I think we need to give more shouts to the brown paper. What about you, Phil?
I think we can do 10 or 20 more minutes on this. I think my favorite way to wrap a gift is to like just like get it from the store and just like the plastic bag that it comes in. I
Oh,
think you just
mhm.
like tie it up and call it a day, and then just like put it under the tree. That's kind of like I think that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
way to go. I think
we
it's just like
well, we were all a bunch of us were in New Orleans for the RHAP events, and we did a little bit of like a podcaster Yankee swap, and that was very indicative, yeah, of certain people's rapping habits or lack thereof.
yeah. I think that it seemed it did seem like a few people did rap, but I also
I
think
saw
it's
a
like
gift bag.
yeah,
I saw a nice gift bag.
I
It
think
was
though
nice.
also when you're traveling somewhere, like you're like, what is the least annoying way to pack this?
Look, there's no
Mhm.
excuses. I brought all dressed chips to New Orleans. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just saying there's no excuses. Okay, chips are very they don't transport well. You can get crushed up. You know,
Yeah.
it's a bad time. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know, if I can bring chips across the country, you
You
certainly can wrap
yeah.
a nice.
But
gift.
then you also just countered that by saying that your favorite way to wrap a gift is to do it in a plastic
Oh
bag.
no, I was just
that it came in.
subtly.
You were shading people. Okay, sorry.
Let me shade people when I got airtime.
Okay.
Well, I think that's very appropriate considering the person that we saw go this episode in Drew Basile, a man
Basile.
who contains multitudes here. Yeah, his fate was Basiled in a manner of speaking, as he was yeeted out of the game like a lid on a rice canister.
Oh my gosh.
I
I was
mean,
gonna say Basile, more like Bastille, because how am I gonna be an optimist about this finale without Drew Basile? You know what I mean?
Is that a reference?
are we singing
What?
Pompeii
Bastille?
by Bastille?
Pompeii?
Yeah.
That is a
love
reference
you,
for
Phil.
maybe 10 people that will maybe 10
I
people.
love it.
I think it's relevant.
I
think it's
actually didn't even
relevant.
know you knew the
Well,
lyrics
if you
to that song.
close your eyes, does it almost feel like you weren't just voted off?
This is why we need the wand off, okay? Because this man has shit floating around in this noggin, and he needs somewhere to do
If
it.
something rhymes, I'll find it. I'll find it if it rhymes.
It might be hash brown Phil.
Does it pronounce Bastille? Was I right on that? Because I
It's
did a lot of
Bastille-
research.
It's
That's
Bastille and then
yeah.
Bastille.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all the
Yeah.
preparation I did for
Wait,
this
you
podcast.
actually prepped this bit?
Yeah, I got a couple more if you just let
No.
it happen. Just let it happen.
Let
I'm
it happen.
spreading them- I'm
Let
spreading
it
them
happen.
out.
Let it all
I'm
natural.
spreading them out.
All right.
All right. Well, let's spread out like seasoning on some crushed all dressed chips. Liana, what did you think about this episode? Not to say that like people were necessarily thinking that Drew was going to be our winner at the end of the day, but were you surprised by the outcome of this episode?
No, not necessarily. I think seeing last week set up this episode so perfectly because it's not a Julie only move. It's a Dee and Julie move. And I think that that's the key here because that's immediately what factors into Drew going home this week. Although in an alternative universe with Jake finding the idol and coming up with this split vote play and all of that, it still may have resulted in Drew going home, but it felt certainly much more likely given the fact that Dee was already on board and you could kind of already see the motion in the ocean, if you will, for Lanky Blanky to go home. I don't know. Will you? Will you, Mike?
I mean, I do personally. You know, I've been shipping that. I've been chilling a sip on that ocean for months at this point, so I love it. So, Jenny, Phil, what have been your thoughts about 45 so far? And did like this episode contribute to it positively, negatively, either direction?
For me, okay, I'm not gonna say anything that hasn't been said already. Like I am really enjoying the season. I obviously 90 minutes is making. I feel like I've been like reading into edits so much this season, but I almost think that goes out the window. The way that we read the edit has changed because we are getting so much more content in each episode. So even like, you know, going back to like how many confessionals are people getting? Like how much of people's story are we seeing? Like I feel like you can't use previous seasons information to compare to this season's version of that. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it because I'm getting so much more information, but I'm also realizing that because they have more time to do that, it makes it harder to figure out what kind of story they're telling. So that's been fun because it's like a puzzle. And then I'm like, maybe this puzzle isn't like the puzzles from the past. And there's like, you know what I mean? I have more pieces and they might have not put it together the same way. I don't know.
So they're not.
Don't ask for me analogies on Survivor.
This isn't an edit that you can't 3D print, right? Like
exactly.
You can't study
Carson.
It might be Carson.
And maybe after this season, then there will be like more of a new blueprint. But I just think that like, you know, earlier in the season, I'd be like, oh, we're getting a lot of like confessionals from this person. And it's like, I'm wondering what that means. But then it's like, okay, it might just mean that they go to the end of the game, but they're not a winner. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm finding myself like spending a lot of time like reading the edit and thinking about what that might mean. And it might mean nothing, like in terms of placement or like their story or whatever. But I really, really enjoy it because you're getting such way more three-dimensional, talk about 3D characters, and we're knowing a little bit more about the relationships. However, my one complaint is I still feel like there are relationships I haven't seen that much of to understand, and like one of them that gets, you know, kind of shone a spotlight on this episode is Dee and Katurah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it seems like they're cool and they have a good relationship. Katurah says to Jake, like, hey, I think we can get Dee in on this plan. And Jake's like, no, let's do it. You know, it'd be way more fun tying it up again. But that we see the great scene of the 3-2-1 Drew. And I'm like, these two are clearly close, but I feel like we're not getting enough about how close and why. So I still have like some criticisms of what they're doing with the 90 minutes because I think that they should be showing us a little bit more about the intricacies of the relationships. We know that Dee and Julie are close. We know that Dee and Austin are close. We know that Katurah and Jake, they start on the same tribe. They have kind of a working relationship. They're not like, it doesn't seem like they're super, super close, but there's like other relationships that I just don't feel like we're getting as much context for that I would like.
So greedy. So greedy. I'm doing the exact opposite.
Oh,
I'm doing like, I'm just watching. I'm trying to take it all in as it's happening. And I think
Living
that
in the moment.
Yeah, I just think like, you know, we should we not just, you know, give Survivor their points for when they like do good stuff, like things in the right direction. We're cool. We love the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more fleshed out arcs that like of like characters like that are, you know, important and relevant to the season, and you know, it's helping it
I feel like I know the
predictable
jury even more than previous seasons too, right? Like
so I'm doing the exact opposite. I kind of like to just I'm watching, I'm taking it at face value, like a filthy casual. I love it.
Well, I think to your point, Jenny, it also helps that 4 out of the 5 of them went to tribal council like every episode. So
of course, right? Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of shine a light on those people when they're going to tribal council. But you know, again, with 90 minutes, you have a whole extra close to half an hour of time to develop some more storylines. No, I mean, I'm not even dogging. Like, it's been really, really fun watching the episodes. They're doing so many more. Like, I've been saying this on Twitter a few times. This season is a comedy. Like, the episodes are so funny. Like, they're doing really fun stuff with the edit. So I really personally enjoy that. I just feel like I'm like, I don't know. There's been points with the season where I've read into the edit and I've made like kind of like predictions or like thought something was going to play out a certain way. And sometimes those things have turned out and sometimes they haven't. And so I can't stop doing it now. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just finding like going into the finale, there's obviously a few ways that I think that we could, what kind of final threes we could get with what we've got left here. And I'm finding myself still being like, what is their thing? You know, like what's connecting them? And I don't know, maybe I'm just blacking out during parts of the episodes. That's known to happen. It's usually during challenges, but I don't know, maybe I've missed conversations.
I forgot. Dee and Katurah really divulged their history to each other while they were standing on that platform in the water before the challenge began, and you just missed it completely.
Man.
Yeah.
Really?
Sorry, Jenny. We watched it twice. I can't believe you missed it.
Twice. See, this is what like, are you guys gaslighting me? Huh? I watched it again last night. This is awkward.
I don't know.
No, you're lying.
Yeah, no, of course. Jenny, look, I 100% agree with you. I think in particular, thinking about D, because this is actually sort of the second time that this has popped up on my radar. The first was with Kelly when we found out that D and Kelly actually had a pretty close relationship, and that never seen essentially. And now with Katurah, it feels like a repeat of the exact same thing of these two coming together. Thank you, Mike. And also with Austin picking Katurah, like I also feel like there's maybe something there, right? That we just don't understand, like why Katurah, why not Jake, for example. I understand leaving the Drew behind, but anyway, whatever. And that also could be done on purpose, right? Because otherwise, if everything is given to us, then it becomes immediately obvious. So that's sort of the benefit of the doubt that I'm giving the editors, that this is a conscious choice of why we're not seeing some of these things in order to make it a little bit more exciting for us viewers at home. But otherwise, yeah, I would levy the same critique of, we have all this extra time. I really want to know what all the relationships are like.
Well, and even other things, like Drew has said in interviews, including mine, that like Julie was playing her ass off even more so than we thought, when we were like, oh, Julie woke up a few episodes ago and now she's playing, where she was making a bunch of these final 3 deals. And unfortunately, we missed out on seeing the encounter where basically she's just like, this is my idol now. And they're like, okay, she's using the pronoun, so I suppose that's correct. So I think there is some stuff that's being obfuscated, unfortunately. And it just goes to show again, like, it's 72 hours of content. Like, there's bound to be stuff on the cutting room floor. And I do think after next week, perhaps we could look back as to that point, like, is this stuff not being shown purposely? Are we obscuring Dee's closer relationships to not make it seem so much of like, a destined outcome, if you will, when she gets to the final 3 of like, well, she's going to win no matter what? Are we obscuring, all the stuff that Julie's doing because she is going to go to the end and not win? And so it's just like, we don't want the fans in an uproar about, oh my God, Julie did all this stuff and she still didn't get a jury vote at the end of the day, though fans will still complain. Spoiler alert, Survivor production. I'm not entirely sure.
No matter what.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on that note, I do want to talk about the Drew side of things. I mean, we have a lot to get into with this guy, but I'm really intrigued. Phil, do you think if Drew got to the end, he had a chance of winning? Because this was set up in this episode how, like, he's the brains behind the operation. Man. He's the, best talker that I've ever seen, according to Jake. But, like, I don't know. I think the way that some of the audience perceived him, I can imagine maybe the jury would perceive him in the same way.
Look, I thought he was so off-putting in this episode. And I think, like, obviously, like, that's kind of like the poetic downfall of like somebody on Survivor who is like, as soon as you get to that place where you're so cocky and you're literally saying at tribal council, like, if I make it past this vote, I can see my exact path to the end. As soon as you're saying stuff like that, you're sorry. Jeez, you're just like, you're in outer space, baby. You feel like you probably don't have as good of a read as you think you do on what's going on, and clearly that's what happens. Like, I feel like they love to also do that when somebody is like doing that in confessional and stuff. They like to sink them on an episode like this.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, people are saying stuff like that in their confessionals all the time, and also things are extremely like frankenbitten. So I think that, I have spent this entire season not feeling like Drew had a chance to win, feeling like Drew was a big driver of the season, and I saw him going out early mid-merge. I actually think he stayed longer than I was expecting, because there was like a few weeks where I was like, they're gonna target Reba eventually, right? And Drew is the first person they're gonna go after, right? And then it just like didn't happen for like several weeks. But I think that the edit was built in a way where it's like, it's very clear that he had his finger on the pulse through, most of the game and was a driver of a lot of the strategy, but ultimately has some missteps near the end. I think that he managed the Julie and beyond, like the Julie failed vote and beyond, kind of poorly. I have a lot of questions about what he was thinking during some of this episode, but I think that, they have a lot of footage and they're going to edit it in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I understand why they get this guy out. because he went into this confident and he, says these things at tribal council. I don't think what he said at tribal council was like the craziest thing, but I also don't think that he should have said that. I don't think it makes a difference, but when you say something like that at tribal council, like that is going to get shown and it is going to make you look a certain way because they're also going to have confessional clips of you saying similar sort of stuff. So it's like they can craft, the times that you were the most confident and like gassing yourself up to make it make sense to like watch the fall of you. You know what I mean? It's not to say that that's all he's been saying, but I just think that like that's what they're going to do with someone like that to have their ultimate fall at Final Six, right?
I feel like New Era, like tribal council is like so like people are so comfortable just saying like exactly what is on their mind.
Why aren't people lying at tribal council more?
I will push against that I feel like that is recent. I feel like this season sort of broke the trend of the past 2 seasons where everyone was just super conservative at tribal council and was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff. Survivor is like downhill skiing. And, and then this season, I feel like people are just, because this cast is just so wackadoo, they're just like, no, let's just sort of talk about what's going on out in the open. And we've gotten like a little bit of that whispering that's happened, but I do feel like maybe it's also like just the quality of the cast as well. Not quality, I should say. I'd say like the timbre, the tone of the cast. And this cast just kind of doesn't give an F in many ways. And so it allows like, yeah, just, speak openly about how you feel confident in the end. And who knows, to your point, Jenny, maybe other people have been saying that, including Drew himself at previous tribal councils, and it just hasn't been shown.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, there's so 2 things. So one, in terms of how open people are people open? Okay, whatever, English. So Emily starts things off with the season being the most open of all of the people, just being like, yeah, fuck Bruce. Like, yeah, exactly. But that, I feel like that sets the range, right? Because you have people going all the way from Emily to, being super obscure. And so it almost moves the range of what is acceptable within the social norms of this group. So because you had that really from the onset, I think that's a big indicator of how open people are going to be. And then the other thing too, to Drew, just one comment about Drew's content and his narrative. His edit literally starts with, I'm the smartest person to ever play Survivor ever in the entire world ever. Right? So like that's already setting him up to be, something very interesting downfall is going to happen with this guy. Right. Like that's the first thing you think when you see that opening confessional. And so I just really love that in terms of the storyline through. And I was just waiting, Jenny, for it to happen just like you. Like, when are they going to turn on Reba? It's going to be Drew first. It took all the way to the penultimate episode, but it did eventually happen.
Yeah. And I feel like just if you're starting off the season saying that you're the smartest person to ever play, and that's being, included in your edit, that tells to me, I'm like, I just don't think that they're giving that to the eventual winner like early on, and it's going to feed into like the storyline for how he goes. One of the things I wanted to ask that made me feel like, am I crazy watching this episode when Dee and Austin are sitting, at the beach or whatever after tribal council, or maybe it was the next day, I don't know, talking about how Dee definitely didn't tell Julie, and like we need to make sure that the other people don't actually think that she told Julie or whatever. And Dee's doing her acting thing, and she's like, I'm doing such a great job of acting, I didn't even think I was a good actor. And then we get Drew, we get a confessional from Drew being like, there's a lot of people acting here and they're not doing a very good job. And I was like, oh, clocked her ass. And then, but if he understands that Dee was the one that like filled in Julie on the plan and that's what foiled it, how did he possibly think that his position in the game, where his 2 probable closest allies were still going to be Dee and Austin, how did he think this was going to pan out and that he was going to be successful in getting rid of Julie again?
Good. It's a very good question, which is why I asked Drew the exact same thing. So the way that he reasoned it was that apparently what that comment was referring to was that, so we saw last episode the, Dee Austin heartfelt conversation where Austin tells Dee that it's going to be Julie, something that Dee does not reciprocate in this episode.
Yeah.
Apparently during that talk, which everyone was kind of aware of, and they were giving them space for multiple reasons, but I think also to like let them live in their feels. Apparently Julie walked in at one point in that conversation and sat down. So what Drew was referring to was not, oh, Dee explicitly told Julie and that's why she played the idol. His perspective was, oh, the two of them were acting so guilty and could not be obscuring in the moment. They were such bad actors there that she caught the bad wind and played the idol. So it's not necessarily, she was tipped off about it. It was more so, oh, Julie walked in on this one conversation and these two maroons didn't know how to lie to her in the moment, and that's why she played the idol.
But that's a wild editing choice, because if he's referring to acting in terms of that being the reason she played her idol, and not when that confessional was paired with Dee talking about acting so that people didn't think that she told Julie, like, that's very confusing. Am I wrong?
It's like the juxtaposition of Dee saying like, I just like pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and Drew just blatantly not seeing that. That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay, so maybe I am just a simple-minded
No.
Okay.
No. The way you interpreted it is like not a like wrong interpretation, but
it's just like weird that he's referring to stuff that happened in the previous episode and and talking about acting while she is talking about acting in the present to make people not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
oh my
but
god,
he's
crazy.
He's talking about the people like who were supposed to keep the
I understand. That part I understand now. I just think that like without having that explained now in the edit of the show, that said to me, I'm like, okay, she's not doing a good job of selling this, and he sees through it and knows that she's still kind of like someone tipped Julie off. And listen, I have all the information, so that's like, well, maybe not. Clearly not. But I was like, why is Julie why is Dee acting mad? Like her acting of like going back to tribal, and like I just think that in that situation, if you're trying to sell that you really didn't tip her off, you don't want to overact it, right? Like I think that what you do there is like you're sucking up to Julie because you feel guilty. Isn't that what you think you would have done in that situation? I just don't understand. It's the same reason why I didn't understand why like Drew was so mad. Like, why are you mad at Julie? Like, why are you when she like tackles him, she's like, remember the old times and the old people, and like he's like get off of me.
Perfect Julie impression.
Thank you. The COVID, the recovering COVID is apparently helping.
Can you do the? Do
you remember that? But he gets like mad at her, and he's like, what are you talking about, Julie? What do you mean? I don't know. Are we still good? I'm like, bro, you were the one that tried to take her out at 7. What are you
I love it, though.
About?
I love it because, like, that's the just like the absolute illogical aspects that come with being emotional, I think. And that's the thing I love about Drew's arc as well, is like, for a typical quote-unquote game bot where he was one of the most like strategically narrative people in this entire season, especially near the end, he was so emotionally driven, as we saw in this episode. And I think it's this matter of he's pissed off that his plan didn't work and that Julie is still here. And yes, it's not fair to Julie because the other option would have been that she was gone. But at the same time, she represents to him like the first failure he's had in the game. And so he's kind of taking it out on her. I love, first off, why does Julie do that? Why does Julie run in and tackle Drew? Like, I understand it's an awkward situation in the first place. I like it. It's a little cathartic and I love it. But then also Drew's subsequent confession of like, get off me. I'm not your friend.
It's because Julie's playing the game so hard. Like literally so hard.
So hard, and she's tackling. Yeah. That was, and again, that was the stuff to me that I'm like, oh, this is bad acting, and he sees through it, because I just felt like for her to be like, remember the old times, let's get the band back together, like, which obviously was acting. I thought that he was like referring to that and also D trying to sell it. And again, that's
Mhm.
you know how you can
Mhm.
craft the edit. But yeah, I think it's really interesting, like what you're saying, Mike, that someone who probably sees themselves as a very logical, very you know, and you can be very logical, very cerebral, extremely strategic, and have emotions. And I think that and I don't know if he owns that piece of him really strongly, or if he's like maybe in denial about the emotional side of it, but like in reality that is kind of what happened here. Is like he was frustrated with maybe even himself, that like what he wanted to do, his big move at 7, didn't pan out. And he takes, instead of like going inward and being like, okay, I had a misread, or like I'm, you know, maybe something I said set this into motion for her to play the idol. He like puts that out onto her, when it's really, no, she didn't do anything wrong. She did everything right for her own game here. And that, to me, that's just like emotional stuff that you I don't know, like, do you know what I'm saying, where it's like you're frustrated with yourself,
Yeah.
but you don't know how to like deal with that frustration, and so you're like, oh, I need that frustration out at somebody else. I'll blame the person that
Yeah.
should not be blamed here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also if the lying, okay, so if Drew is like, this is the perfect plan, we just have to make sure Julie doesn't, you know, read into it, and then sees that the other interaction with Dee and Austin as being the reason why it happens, like, then it's like, I'm putting the blame on them as a
Which
result.
he didn't, though. That's what it seems like. He does it. We didn't even see any sort of frustration, except for, I guess, the line where he says they were bad actors, which he was
Yeah.
referring to them previous episode. But it doesn't even seem like he has any of that frustration pointed at the two of them. And maybe it's just like, okay, well, I'm still working with these two closely, so that it is what it is. But I just felt like there was like during this episode, that some of his vitriol like towards Julie just felt like, and I'm saying this with love because this is like the youngest person on the cast, it just felt a little immature. It just felt like a little kind of things where it's like, in a few years, like, I don't know that he would maybe act that way. And it was kind of like, this was the first thing that went wrong for him in the game. And he kind of like, you know, stomped around and like took his ball and wanted to go home a little bit and throw a rice lid into the, I didn't really understand that.
As
But
2 people quit this season, Survivor is hard. Okay, he is a young lad, and you know,
Yeah,
so
he's
I'm
22.
not, you know, but yeah, I think maybe you're right. Like maybe like a couple of years down the line, he's able to deal with that emotion in a different way. But like also, I want to see it on my TV, so
Oh yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
and
think-
also an unintended consequence of Julie being there as well. He didn't get taken to the sand spit. You know, it could have been him
he had to
as the
babysit.
third wheel, but he had to
Babysit.
be the babysitter. If Julie wasn't there, I think it becomes like a Reba celebration.
Now, here is my question. I mean, obviously that's how he sees it. But I think that even without the narrative of someone needs to stay back with Julie that gets sold here, like, I don't think that Austin is taking Drew as the second pick no matter what. Like, and this is what you were saying, Liana, is like, okay, well, what's the deal with Austin and Katurah? Like, what was why Austin taking Katurah as the second person? Like, clearly there's some like interwoven relationships here. Like, we see Austin, you know, run into Katurah while she's idol searching, and like it seems like they have like a comfort enough with each other to be like, yeah, don't tell anyone you saw me doing that. That's kind of weird. And like, she's honest with him, where she's like, I thought maybe like they might have replanted the idol and we should make sure Julie doesn't get it. I just think that pick for Austin was also maybe relationship building with Katurah more than it was like just putting certain people back at camp. And I mean, there's even a situation where I think he takes Jake over Drew. Don't you? I don't know. He was always going to pick D because he wants to have this incredible experience with D.
Hell yeah,
You know, he wants to go on that helicopter. He wants to eat that meat and cheese and Okay.
Ooh.
Well, there was mean
Get
cheese.
that helicopter
good.
HJ.
Yeah. But
They
anyway,
were holding hands. Like the way
The-
the hands on the thighs and stuff, I was like, has it been this explicit the whole time?
They were holding hands at the beginning of last episode when they're all the
Oh.
ravens are down on the beach. There's there's
Well, wasn't that
PDA
in the
and there's
dark?
like, I mean, the moon lights up a lot.
That's a
There's
good
no
point.
light pollution in Fiji, so like the moon lights up a lot. But there's PDA and then there's Survivor PDA. And I feel like that's
Yeah.
Survivor PDA. It's like holding hands in front of
It's
yes,
a
at that
lot.
moment your two closest allies, but like, I mean, I don't know. Like, was it that way at the sand spit as well? Like, oh my gosh, I feel so
Yeah.
gooey.
I know. I'm like, oh my God. They're like essentially making out in the helicopter. It's like the equivalent of that is how it feels.
A tender hand on the thigh and then the hand sandwich on top.
Yeah.
That's
Sandwich.
Mhm.
that is tender. That is like
something.
that's like almost some peak physical touch. Listen,
Yeah.
not all physical touch needs to be sexual. Like that's tender, you know?
Mm.
There's
Loving.
different Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
You know what
we
I
got a lot
mean,
of
right?
Oh, I
schmoopy
know what you mean.
stuff.
Oh,
in this
I know what
episode.
you mean.
No, like I wouldn't even say it was schmoopy. Like the banter, the bants, as the Brits say,
Oh yeah.
was immaculate. I loved it.
They
so
flirt
good.
like they're in grade 6. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm gonna beat you next time. Like kind of like teasing each other. Like she has like such alpha energy. The way that she talks to him.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
like
he
she's
said
like
too. He's
chasing
like-
him around the playground.
Well, that's what
Exactly.
he, he Austin said that too, right? He's like, she's so cool. I would never approach her in the real world. Which, again, you sort of look at him and you assume that he would have that similar alpha-like energy, but he is betaing so hard. He's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
D, you're so awesome. I would never talk to you if we pass each other on the street.
Can't relate. Can't relate at all.
Here's the thing, though. I don't relate to D in terms of like you know.
I know we're fully two betas.
we're a
fully
double beta
double
relation-
betaed up. Yeah.
We're
Like,
sim
I don't know what do
squared.
you want to do. I don't know. What do you want to like?
Yeah.
You pick. I don't care. You pick.
Like, and we're not gonna tease each other.
Like whatever you
it'll
want.
hurt
That's
our
fine.
feelings.
Yeah, whatever you want. That's fine. Or if I do, I'll say, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Like,
Yeah. But like just I love that's you know, I love that this is one of the showmances that we get to see because it's like we get to see that the woman is kind of like, that's right, and I'm gonna beat you on the challenge too. And like
And I'm
you
gonna
know,
vote out your closest ally.
yeah, I'm
without
gonna,
telling you.
Oh,
like it is boss batch boss batch boss bitch kind of ish.
you got it.
I'm like trying not to swear on this
you go.
podcast.
Ah,
but
that's
it's like
fine.
really hard.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think that their dynamic is really funny. And I like seeing the woman, like the alpha woman, just kind of being like, yeah, worship me, worship my
Mhm.
kiss my big toe, you know, kiss
ah!
you know, like kiss my feet. But also
All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Dee,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
Oh,
listening,
we get
here's
it.
your next merch opportunity. Kiss my big toe.
Phil looks absolutely distraught.
Yeah,
by this.
I feel the exact opposite. I hate seeing a strong woman on
Oh
TV.
my god.
Sorry.
All right,
Cancel this man.
Look, no, I mean, it's sweet. It's sweet and
Yeah.
relatable to me because I'm a little beta boy.
Aw,
Yeah,
boy.
they could have had the montage of photos of you with you didn't have braces though, right?
No,
No.
I was always
Mm.
stunning.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was the
Icon.
montage of just like, I was always beautiful. And then I
Yeah.
came
I
on
was-
Survivor and now I'm ugly.
That's the boot episode for that person who's doing that. That's the boot episode. It's like, I'm okay.
Did we get a package for Drew? Now that I'm thinking about it,
Mm.
interesting.
But
Interesting.
I'm trying to think. So of the final, because we didn't get it for everybody. Again, since 44, I would say we kind of have like gone on and off with it. So we got it for D, we got it for Katora, obviously last
Yeah.
episode. We didn't get it
Jake.
for Julie. I don't know. Actually, maybe we got it for Julie in like the first episode. I
If
think,
we
when
got
she
it,
was
I
talking-
don't remember.
I
but
think it's when
have
she
a
was
bad
talking about
memory.
hiding her job and talking about like her life story. We got it
Ah,
Yeah.
very
I
early
vaguely
on.
remember that. Yeah.
We
We got
obviously
Jake though, right?
We obviously got Jake with him
Yeah.
collapsing, and then we got Austin this episode.
Mhm.
So yeah, no Drew. And then even
Interesting.
looking further back, we got Emily's with her partner. We got Bruce
Mhm.
with the foster care. I don't think we got Kelly. I'm trying to remember if we got
No.
and we got Kendra with her dad. So like
Yeah.
it's you're using it less, but I think the more we're looking back at it, the more it's, and maybe that's also a product of 90 minutes. They're just like, all right, listen, can we just like roll out the Rolodex of photos and let the slide carousel go because we have a little bit more time to fill?
Well, and they're probably trying to be strategic with it too, because one, they can't do it for everyone, and maybe obviously some stories are going to be a little bit more compelling than others. So they're obviously going to show stuff for certain people, but when they started doing this, it was almost like people would be like, oh, they're going, we're getting the package. And so they're probably trying to like control how that gets viewed. Like, well, we can't always be doing the package for the person on their boot episode, because that's a little too telling. We don't want to be spoiling our own show. We're not Island season 3. Sorry, that's
and also they're trying to, I think, make it seem more natural, that it's not like, oh, I found a crab today. That reminds me of when my dad left me when I was 3 years old. Like,
I thought you were gonna say when my dad had crab.
That's what I thought too.
I don't know if that would make
reminds
the
you when my dad had crab.
Why am I in Survivor? To avenge my dad's crabs. He's the reason I'm here.
I've been afraid of crabs since that day, and I'm here to face my fears.
I kill every crab I see. For my dad's pubic hair, I avenge thee. But I think they want to like make it seem more natural. I mean, Austin's was maybe, I think, the most kind of shoehorned in we've gotten of a lot of packages this season, of him being like, I really like D, which is not always the case because I was an ugly duck leg. And that felt the most like 41 through 43 way they would do it. But I feel like, again, 44 and onwards, they've done an okay job of naturally segueing, oh, if you're talking about this thing on the island, this is how it connects back to your life.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it means anything at this point. Like, are we gonna get some more context for people who, I guess, so is the only person that's left that we haven't gotten a package for now Julie? Like, are we gonna get something in the next episode?
We got a little bit from her, and I will also say, I believe, no, I might have to correct myself after the fact. I think we got like some photos of Drew in when he was talking about like him going to an Ivy League school back in that first episode, whether it was that opening confessional Liana was talking about or the Drew Basile Jekyll Hyde distinction. I think we got some photos there. So I think it's also depending on what do we classify as a package. Like, is it just photos from home? Is it the quote unquote sob story of this is my inspiring story of why I'm on Survivor? Because Drew did not get that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. The his double personality, the Jekyll and Hyde thing that they did at the beginning, that was very bizarre to like set up his character. Although I kind of like it, because I remember thinking at that moment being like, because I thought Drew was gonna go much earlier than he ultimately ended up going, which we'll get into when we talk about the predictions. But yeah, I don't think he to me, it's like, do you have this like very distinct set aside, almost discrete unit of separate content? Like, it's not integrated. Ew. It's not integrated into the flow of the story. Like, we're taking a step out. It almost feels like narratively, it feels like removed from what's going on the island. Like, we're truly going back in time. We're learning about this person's history, and then we're going back to the island. I feel like his was really, truly super integrated into like what was happening. So I would say that it's a little bit different narratively, but it's nitpicky.
Well, you mentioned it. Perfect segue, Liana. Let's get into our predictions for Drew in the preseason, because I feel like, well, Drew came in hot into Survivor, again, to the point of that opening confessional. You know, I would say he was definitely heating up when he was talking with me, when he was giving these interviews. He certainly had a method of talking about himself in the game that I think he definitely brought in and carried through until his torch was extinguished. So, I mean, Liana, you are like a 45 tribal council in that you showed your hand a bit in revealing how you thought he would do. So elaborate on that further. What was your prediction for Drew here?
Okay, so the prediction was Drew makes Mergatory also.
Have we officially met like all 4 or 5 people that were in that category?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's the last one. So here's what I wrote for Drew. Drew is smart and he knows it. Unfortunately, so does everyone else on the islands of Fiji, as Drew doesn't want to hide any bit of himself in this era of authenticity. As a result, he quickly becomes a target for his strategic and puzzle prowess, as well as his stories of mock trial successes. Final tribal? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Drew did okay socially, but struggled to find his ride or die, putting him on the awkward outs on Reba, and he was an easy target in the split tribal episode when Reba is in the majority and Julie throws him under the bus. His ally was Ryan Ulrich. And his enemy was Julie. I have absolutely no memory of this ally situation.
So
did you think he was returning?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see him? He was the 19th castaway. That was the big twist. It was only 90 minutes, so they had to cut it, but he actually was there for that tribal council.
He was at all the tribals, like Kendra in the first one. Yeah, they just...
he was actually the Boston Rob Sandra position. He was actually watching the whole season.
Well, actually, I don't know if you read this. I did an interview with Jeff, and he's like, "Well, Ryan Ulrich gave me a call and said, like, Jeff, my landlord shut down my place. I just need a place to crash." And he's like, "Come to Fiji in April and May. I've got you. You can come to tribal council, but you can't stay. You can't stay with the crew or the castaways. You can only live at tribal council." And so there's
treehouse.
So there's obviously the voting booth. There's where the players are saying there's the jury, and then there's like the Ulrich hut, which is just this like little tent that they put him up in that he stayed in for all 26 days. It's actually pretty stunning if you saw it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I would love to hear this story.
It's just a hut, and it's just like a little space for him, and then a closet full of red turtlenecks.
Yeah, that's all it is. There was no foodstuffs. There's
clean red turtlenecks for every single day.
It's just like a little crawl space.
There's no
him,
bed.
And a big
a little hobbit hole.
Just all the red.
He actually didn't have a bed. He just bunched all the used turtlenecks up into a little pile and just slept on that like a dog.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like a little dog bed.
He's still there to this day.
He's still there. He's waiting
on Ghost Island.
Like literally maturing.
The reason why he brought it up, and I was only reminded of this because when I talked with Drew about this, I talked a bit about, again, sort of the mood that he had towards the end of the game, and he had come in, and I had forgotten that he had mentioned Ryan Ulrich when I talked to him. Like, he was really inspired by Ryan Ulrich being this very like brainy, less physical person, but he said that he was realizing the other side of the Ryan Ulrich story, which is, oh yeah, Ryan like got no respect from the jury. Could that be
maybe
me?
I should not do that.
And so yeah, he was spiraling a bit towards the end there. So that makes sense, I think, in retrospect. So unlike Drew's head, I did not have such high expectations for him. Even as Liana, I had him going pre-jury. I said that Drew would have the most, quote, new era confessionals. You know what I'm talking about. Button-up energy.
There wink?
I think there is, actually.
Okay.
Yes, there is. Button-up energy, consistently talking about the game, packaging things through metaphors, etc. I said that
top 5 packaging of the game.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Not that kind of packaging, Liana.
Oh,
I mean, Mike was talking about his unit anyway.
Yeah, wait, is
the best seal is.
How much cardboard's down there? Guys, packing peanuts?
No. Are they edible?
Oh yeah, they
my
talk
God.
about tube shape. He'll attempt to bank on his service center experience to get to know his tribe mates. I forgot about that. But yeah, he was like, he said he worked at a call center in college, which is like how he's different from the other Ivy League students because like they aren't in touch with the common people and he is. But because of his, quote, slimy perception, it'll come across as inauthentic. Despite trying to blend in as much as his size can let him, he'll start to get flighty and make game plans well before Reba attends their first tribal council. When he finds out an ally of his has an advantage, he will start creating plans with it right off the jump. This just buries him further, giving the rest of the tribe the more than 6 feet to put him under. His closest ally was Austin, and his enemy was D.
Hey, that's pretty good. You actually picked players that were on the season. That's a really great move.
But Liana, when you said Ryan Ulrich would be his closest ally, like perhaps that was like he's his closest ally. Like the Ryan Ulrich inside of him that's playing part of the game is like his ally. It's like
his force.
It's like it's a metaphor or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a metaphor. It's obviously
true fashion. It's a metaphor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think, you two? You are the arbiters of our fate here.
Oh, that is we should not be the arbiters of anyone's fate, even our own.
No, we can both make. Surely, two of us together can make one decision.
I think that's even worse.
Surely. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to pinpoint. Okay, so just based on what happened, just placement wise, okay, Liana is ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Other factors we have to take into account. They both said that he would be on the outs on Reba, which was not incorrect, or it was incorrect a little bit, because he was very he was very central.
I guess you could say he was on the outs when it came time to turn on Reba. Although they kind of sold out Sifu and Jay, but it's tricky because I always, once we got to merge and it was like that was the Reba 4, I personally always felt like and maybe this was like the tallest grass. Is that a thing?
The tall poppy syndrome.
Tall
poppy
exists. Did you say that already? Okay, then maybe you incepted it. Because he's literally like most noticeable. But I also just think in terms of, being the most obvious person to take out because he's like a very smart guy. He's strategic. And I think what maybe was missed in both of your predictions for him was like, I think he was a lot better socially than a lot of us probably expected. Like had good like he had a relationship with Kendra. He had obviously had a great relationship with Emily. Like he was well integrated in Reba. And if it weren't for him kind of trying to take out Julie, like Julie was so Reba, like to the wheels fall off, that I don't necessarily know that that would have, I don't know. I don't think that she would have gone for him. I think maybe other people would, but
what's interesting is also, according to Drew, the Rebas never wanted to go to the end together, which I kind of need to chew over. I'll obviously be doing the feedback show with Rob tomorrow, so I want to talk about this more in length. But like, that's interesting to me. That I think, again, talk about the sort of discrepant narrative we had believed the entire time, and I think Julie did specifically, because I think she's like, well, listen, if we get to 4, I win. So like, I win in any Reba Final 3, so please, let's go to the end. But according to Drew, there were no out-and-out deals about it, and that the plan was that he was always going to go after Julie, just at 6 instead of 7.
The one thing, and I will get back to your predictions, but I wonder, like, does Julie see herself as someone that could win? Like, I felt like it started being talked about that she was the biggest threat, and it's like, did she look at the Reba 4 and be like, I win in any scenario here? Because I'm not even necessarily sure that she saw it that way. I almost felt like that was a bad situation for her, because the way that the edit has been brought to us until basically like 2 episodes ago, it was like I felt like she was like D's number 2, you know what I mean? And that like D was kind of being edited as the more like integrated and social player, and that a lot of the stuff about what Julie was doing was kind of brought to us suddenly. And so that, but so much of what Julie's game seemed to be was like loyalty to Reba, like Reba strong, like not wanting to get rid of their own. And that made me question, I'm like, is it that she thinks she can win in any scenario, or is it just that like she wants to just stick with people that she trusts? Because I know that she's obviously like saying, like, there's got to be better people to take out, bigger threats to take out than me. And you're obviously going to say that because you don't want to make yourself out to be a big target. But like, does she see herself that way? Because I just felt like the way that it was like, the mom always wins at the game. And I was like, this was not the way that we talked about this history of this game.
You got to manifest it, it's like The Secret. You just got to keep saying it over and over again, and eventually it's like, yeah, you know what, moms can do well. I mean, Rob did bring up on the podcast with Jamal this week that Janet obviously was a thing, so it's not like, but we have obviously had Chrissy, Monica Culpepper, Carolyn very recently, Heidi. Like, I think that the negatives far outweigh the positives. And so there are exceptions to the rule. Julie might be it. But yeah, I agree. It's still kind of odd to talk about it as like a known fact,
Especially because, and I understood what Rob and Jamal were saying about it, where it was like, yes, in that season, if Janet had gotten to the end, that was what we would have finally had our satisfying, like, mom and people aren't bitter at her and she wins. But like, we didn't even get that. So I feel like the fact that we're talking about it as a guarantee that like the mom gets the end and that person is so likable and they're going to get given the money when we haven't even seen it happen yet feels so strange to me. But anyway, that aside, back to the Drew predictions. Phil, how are you feeling?
I'm giving it to Dr. Boraas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't. When you said doctor, I wasn't sure because I didn't know I also held a doctorate.
Wait.
Dr. Mike?
Giving it to
Dr.
Dr.
Mike.
Nah.
He'd be interested in the unit. Yeah, I think they're close in a lot of ways, but I think you're right. You give it
I'm
to
right.
Liana on this one. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah,
did it.
Phil's right. I agree, Phil. Yes. How very alpha of you to make a decision.
Look
I'm proud
look
of
at
you.
us making a decision. We
Wow.
did it.
That's how we need to make decisions. Is one person just says it's this, and I go,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Listen, I think
I'm a
we're
problem
all in
solver.
agreement with that. I think that's very much the vibe of just like
Mhm.
our types of people, which is why, again, like people who are cast on Survivor are cast on Survivors because like some people are not that, and good on them. I can never
Mhm.
be. Before we move on, there is one thing that I want to show here, and it comes courtesy of the great Liana Boraas because she sent me this link of
Yes.
something of a Hulu,
Ooh la la.
not a Hulu, of a Reddit post about someone watching the episode on Hulu.
Oh my god, no, that is cursed.
So
it
to
so
describe this, the post is
Looks like a
called "My
pencil."
Hulu connection got crazy and distorted the image." This happened. I call him Drew, which sounds like a Soldier Boy parody that Phil is writing up at the moment. But the reason why it's called that is because it's a picture of the screen being stretched with I think everyone standing after the challenge, and Drew's neck is giraffe-like would be describing it mildly. This is like a patasaurus length.
It's so good.
Terrifying. Where are the rest of okay, so if they were all standing together, where in the image did the rest of the people go?
He's
Because
that
it's
tall. He's
it's-
that
he's
much
that
taller
tall.
than everybody.
it's
I mean, I
just
don't know.
blue
Yeah,
sky and Drew and a giant neck that looks like a
Just-
pencil.
And is
So
that
good.
not
think a
the way that he
giraffe's
saw
neck
the
has a little
game to
more
a certain
curve.
extent? He's like, I'm head and shoulders above the rest. It's just me in the
Mhm.
sky and nothing else.
Yeah.
We should have seen it
This
coming.
is imagery. This
If
is
only
art, this is
we all
symbolism.
saw
Amazing.
the Hulu glitch.
True.
Would have known.
The Trulu. That it truly looks like a pencil.
Yeah,
like,
it
a
gives
little-
Lanky Blanky new meaning
No,
as
you know
well.
what it
It's
is?
a Drew
This-
Pez.
No, yeah,
Oh,
the
it's a
true
Pez.
Pez dispenser. I completely agree,
Mm.
Phil.
What's he
Mhm.
dispensing? What's his
Knowledge.
flavor?
Knowledge.
We say
Yeah.
metaphors.
True.
What
Historical
flavor?
facts.
Textbooks.
We should
Literary
y-
references.
Mhm.
we should start doing like what flavor of it's like the soup question.
What
it's like
flavor
what
of
flavor
Pez
of Pez?
does each
Okay, let's
castaway
let. Do you
and-
have one right off the bat? We don't
What
need to
are
do
the-
all 18, but we can do some quickly.
I think Drew's
What are-
banana.
I didn't even know
What?
Pez had
Why?
different flavors. They're just little
Um,
chalk candies.
No, don't they have? There's flavors.
The-
They
of
do. They
Pez?
have flavors.
I
but
would
I
say
just don't-
that Bruce's grape,
Oh yeah.
like really strong taste that
Polarizing?
honestly not a lot of people enjoy.
What?
Mm.
Is
How
grape
dare you.
polarizing?
How dare you?
I just
I
thought
don't
that
like artificial grape flavor.
Oh,
Yeah, same.
really?
And then, well,
love it.
maybe it's also
Yeah.
because like I only had that as a kid, and so now I'm like my
Oh.
palate is trying to sort of
Mhm.
combat it.
I just
Mhm.
thought it was like fun and fruity. Like I don't know. I just like because he's
Dawn?
kind of like he's a very dynamic. It's like he's big energy. He's like bam, pow, grape.
Grape.
Like
What? Is grape onomatopoeia? Is
Yeah, like
it is.
Batman's
Grape.
finding all the
Boom.
villains. Grape.
Yeah, pow.
And I'm
I
like
feel-
picturing like boxing gloves that are just like a grape, and then like when you punch with the grape boxing glove, it goes grape, and it's like a comic. I don't know what's
exactly.
happening.
There you go.
I feel like
So, Yes,
D
Bruce is grape.
D is like strawberry or like cherry, like whatever the most popular flavor is.
I was feeling watermelon maybe, but
Oh, watermelon's good. Watermelon's good.
What's the
I don't-
points for watermelon?
I don't know. It's
Over
just a
strawberry.
vibe. I don't even have good. I like it's. That's the problem. And also,
Yeah.
I don't even know if any of these are Fez flavors, but I just feel strongly that Drew is banana. I don't know why. Maybe it's
Okay.
because it's a long, skinny.
J cocaine.
Right,
is
like
pineapple.
visually, he looks like a
Yeah.
banana.
Oh, okay.
so-
Phil, J cocaine is pineapple.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, right. I think
Yes.
that's like
Yeah.
you know because he's like tropical.
He's
I don't
tropical.
He's tropical.
I'm trying.
J cocaine, classic tropical.
It's
You know
just a
me. This
tropical,
is an
tropical
island
man.
accent.
The palm trees in Boston.
And here's something I want to say about Jake, because we really haven't talked about Jake yet.
Right.
And I think this does play into being pineapple. What an effing delight this man is.
Mhm.
One of the things that I found really funny about this episode, and again, it was a big cranky Drew episode, and I felt like that was even more highlighted by what a goddamn ray of sunshine Jake is. Because remember when they were like the three of them were on a beach and they're like, he's like, this is the worst day. And like, yeah, but he's like, we're on Survivor. And then he's like,
I'm fun
he's like,
babysitter.
it's a bad day on Survivor. But you're still playing Survivor, and that's like pretty cool, right? Like
I like how your impression of Jake feels like he took like 3 Quaaludes before doing his impression. Yeah, you're having a great time on Survivor.
Got a little too much pineapple. I don't know what that impression was. Anyway, I just like he's so positive. He's like, even when he's doing poorly, even when he realizes he's behind, he's not being brought in on anything, he has just this enthusiasm and energy that I think is very like refreshing and fun. And obviously, like we don't want everyone
Like pineapple.
yeah, exactly. I just think that he has like that. He's got the juice, you know. He's having a fun time even when he's not having a fun time. And I just think that the two of those guys in comparison are really funny, because the difference between when things don't go Drew's way and when things don't go Jake's way and how like they handle it is like very funny and different. Because like Drew's throwing pot lids and being like, I'm mad at the person I tried to blindside, and Jake's like, I gotta pick it up, I guess. Like, all right, back to the drawing table, and you like having a fun time with it. I want both kinds of people on Survivor. I don't think that obviously everyone's like, oh, everyone's having too much of a fun time. I miss real villains. I miss when people were bitter, blah, blah, blah. I think we need people like Drew. Like, that's the thing, is like we do need the people that gets cranky and stomps off when they get voted out. I want to see the Ponderosa footage. I want to see how I heard apparently he didn't talk to anyone for like 3 months after filming. Like, we need people like Drew. But anyway, I am refreshed. I love the energy of a person like Jake, because I just love a happy guy. And he's pineapple, baby.
Yeah, I agree.
Case made.
The moment where he's retelling the idol hunting story and he goes off on the tangent about the play where he was in his underwear, and then he goes,
yeah.
So that facial change, there's something about that half a second, split second, like facial change to go back into the seriousness of explaining the idol hunt. That I don't know why, but that was probably my favorite moment of the entire episode.
Well, what I love about it is that I feel like Jake and Drew should have like swapped personalities given their positions in the game. That Drew was so on top for the majority of the game that he should be the one being like, I'm having a great time. Survivor's awesome. And Jake, who keeps getting votes and is consistently trying these plans that fail, should be like, F this. This sucks. I want to go on the helicopter. But for some reason, they've swapped, and maybe it's because Jake is like kind of using this as a coping mechanism to be like, listen, there's nowhere to go but up from here. You might as well keep on trying. Whereas, as we mentioned before, perhaps for Drew, it was like the first time he wasn't in power, he sort of acted this way. But I love it. It is so much fun. Even if Drew is trying cockamamie plans that, as Steven brilliantly brought up, if it had worked, would have resulted in him and Katura being the only two to draw rocks.
Oh my gosh, that would have been wild. What an alternative universe we could have lived in if that had been
Yeah.
the ultimate outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun to watch someone who's got nothing to lose and is playing that way. Like that's just like a fun thing to see.
Well, and I like this for him because at this point, like when you know that for the majority of the game you haven't been a driving factor, like why not just try to do things in the silliest way possible? Because if it works out, then you've got what you want. Like you've got what you needed to say, like, hey, this crazy plan I came up with and it worked. Like this is my thing now. Like I like that he's not trying to do the safest and most boring thing. But he's also like making sure he stays in the game. And I don't know, he's having fun while he does it. I think it's very, very refreshing and
like
a pineapple, my personal favorite fruit. So
case closed.
There we go. I'm sold. Guilty or innocent? I don't know what I'm voting on.
Yeah,
You should be a
guilty.
lawyer.
Overruled.
We got a lot of lawyers.
Well, let's roll into our game here and hopefully let the fun continue in the spirit of Jake O'Kane.
I
Now,
hope it's about fruit flavors because I got more in the tank.
all right, well,
No, I'm
listen,
just joking.
we'll see where this podcast gets us. As Jenny said, the wheels are off. But speaking of wheels, this episode we had quite the interesting reward. Of course, Dee and Austin got to go on a romantic trip to the Sam Spit, and Katura was there as well. So this was an idea that was sent to me by Felipe Shimon, and he sent in some questions. I put some questions in as well. What he did was a limerick game where I am going to give out a limerick of a famous third wheel in Survivor history.
Oh boy.
Where there was a couple on the island, and then there was that other person that was in their proximity and was just
I wonder where this is
there.
going.
Oh man.
So the way this is going to work is I'm going to read out the limerick first and foremost.
Oh no.
And then you buzz in. I will give you 1 point if you know the third wheel, and I will give you 2 points if you know the couple as well. So there's a maximum of 3 points that can occur there if you know because again, the limerick's going to be about the third wheel, so that'll be the easier one to guess. You get 1 point for that, and you'll get 2 points as well if you know the couple to which the limerick is referring to. So Liana, do you have a specific buzz you'd like to use to buzz in for this competition?
Yes, my buzz in will be Ryan Ulrich.
Fantastic. If you say his name 3 times, though, he does appear in your closet wearing a turtleneck. Phil, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Phil. I think that's just easy for me to remember, and I just think that it's just the first word that comes to my own brain.
Wow, it's giving Drew.
Yeah.
Jenny, what about you? No, it's giving Jake. Remember Jake referred to himself in the third person this episode?
Yeah.
Oh
he's
yeah,
done
he
it
did that
few
a lot.
times. Yeah.
I didn't.
Jenny, what's your buzz in?
Kind of came out of
Sifu's
nowhere.
legacy.
I was gonna say grape. But
No,
I think,
you know what? It's happening.
okay,
Yay.
because my
I've chosen
other
for you.
option was which is kind of like
I do
the
like
Julie
the
noise.
pitch in that. I think that might cause people who are listening with dogs in the area to complain. So I'm gonna side with PETA here and say grape.
It's
So we have Ryan Ulrich, Phil, and grape. So
Classic.
as an example, for those that again that might not remember what a limerick is, so here's one written by Felipe. She won a helicopter trip to dine while on a sand spit. As she looked to her right, their hands were held tight as they rode on the airship. The third wheel in this case would be Katura, and of course the couple would be Dee and Austin.
I nailed it. I knew that one. I'm good to go,
Yeah,
Got
guys.
that one.
I was ready for that one.
Yeah, we're ready.
This is going to be bad because
Yes.
I'm not going to speak for Liana, but Phil and I, we don't
I'm a historian.
possess
No.
the
I'm a
best
historian.
memory.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
I
The
got this.
seasons
I'm
are
a
all
historian.
mush, so
But-
this is gonna be rough.
yeah.
Speak for yourself. I studied for weeks.
Listen,
before coming on.
don't sell yourself
Yeah,
short.
true,
I'll also
Phil.
say Jeopardy style, if you want to buzz in before the limerick is complete, if you think you have a guess, feel free to do it. But then if you
Okay.
get it wrong, Well, I'll give it to the other two, and I'll read out the full limerick. as
So
well.
we're playing
Okay.
separately. Phil and I are our own people.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, blood versus water
Aw.
style.
That's so cute.
We're what's codependent or what's the
No.
one?
Codependent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
one cannot live without the other.
Okay, that's a little
That's how
dark.
Not but
That's
not right
deep.
now.
The romance,
But
is.
not right now. We
But not
are
right
set
now.
Yeah.
against each
Not right
other.
now.
We're
Oh, wow.
ops. We're
Grape
ops.
and Phil. Yep.
Grape and Phil, the power
Grape and
couple.
Phil.
We could call you Grill
That's cute.
Grillies.
or Fape.
George Foreman, baby.
Fake.
Yeah, who's you Fapin'?
Isn't,
Ha-
yeah,
you
isn't
know
that
who
what
wasn't
Hannah was
Fapin'?
doing?
Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah couldn't find her Fape. All right, here we go. Here's your
Oh,
first
God.
limerick. He played with a guy named Matt, and on the jury he
Phil.
sat. Yes,
It's Rob.
that's correct.
The-
you know the
The
power
third
couple.
wheel is Rob. Is it Rob and Amber?
That is correct, Phil.
Wow.
3 points to you.
Oh my god.
We didn't
Hey.
even, can we hear the rest of the limerick so we can
Yes.
get
Sure, sorry.
'Cause it-
I'm focused on the game. I guess we
He
wanna do
has
the
been
limit.
studying. You have
you
been
wrote it.
studying.
I'm telling you.
You wrote these, right, Mike?
Yes, I did. And
Okay,
Felipe.
because we need to hear Mike's genius.
I'm so sorry.
No,
Uh,
you buzz in. But
I
we'll
want
still-
to win.
Okay, but
so-
we
No,
still wanna
and
hear
I
it.
wanted to start with arguably the easiest one to make you all feel.
Oh.
good about your skill set.
gas me up, and then just like fucking rip the
Yeah, that's
carpet
the
out from
easiest
underneath
one.
Oh,
me.
yeah.
But Liana and I
I'm
are like,
hearing you.
wow.
I know. I was impressed.
He played with a guy named Matt, and on the jury he sat. When he
Mhm.
played season 8, he said they would mate, and now he hosts a podcast.
Okay, yeah,
Beautiful.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
We would have gotten there, Jenny.
If you
I
heard
believe
the
in
whole
us.
thing,
So-
when you
Yeah,
hear
we
the
would've
whole
got
thing,
there.
it's easy. I would say that it's impressive you got there immediately.
Oh, very
just
much
with-
so, yeah.
played
Just
with
from
Matt.
Easily,
Yeah.
That is like a very common name.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Survivor?
Is it? Maybe not that common
There's a lot of
in
Matts.
Survivor.
He's
Yeah.
the first Survivor
Matt
man I think
Chats.
of.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
all those Matt. Yeah, he
All
played
right,
with the Survivor Matt of the.
Yeah, on the map.
Where you have a
Exactly.
chat.
That's there's been a Matt theoretically in every season of Survivor.
Multiple,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
It's the most popular name on the show, theoretically
Yeah.
speaking. Unless someone's named Vote. All right, let's move on here. Here's the next
There's a
one.
voce.
A fifth wheel found herself in the thick, but had more loyalty to the chicks. While the woman looked doe-eyed, she crafted the man's blind side and sent
Oh,
him off to go
Grape!
make more sticks. Yes, Jenny.
Okay, the person. Oh no. The person's Parv,
You can
right?
give, you can give either one.
Parvati, and then Ozzy and Amanda.
I will give you the couple.
Oh.
yeah, you know
it's
what? Go ahead.
Is it Suri?
It is Suri. I'll give it to you because that
I
could
was
have
trying to
been
think of
either
who
or.
was more the third wheel of them, and I thought that feels a
Yeah.
little bit more like Parv, but in the blind side. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and
I'll take
I said
whatever
it
point
was
you
the
want to give
fifth
me.
wheel, but I could understand that. Like, yeah, if you're just referring to the couple, then yeah. Maybe
Did you
Parv
say
is-
fifth wheel? Because I forgot.
Come on, it was in my perfect prose, Jenny. Come on,
Oh
you have
my
to
God.
read every syllable.
I'm not a numbers person, Mike.
Mm.
Well, this is why we'll move into the beautiful language of our next limerick.
Wait, so how do the points work?
I'm gonna give you 3 because you got both the couple and the third wheel,
Okay.
and Phil
Thank
has
you.
3 as well. Liana
Okay.
got the goose egg, but
Nailing
she
it.
has potential to catch up with this next one. Started with a shirt called Yellow. We knew him as quite a raunchy fellow. Throughout the pre-merge, saw young lovebirds had the urge, though the guy would sometimes quake like Jello. Started with a shirt colored yellow. We
Okay.
knew him as quite a raunchy fellow. Throughout the pre-merge, saw young lovebirds had the urge, though the guy would sometimes quake like Jello.
Phil.
Yeah, Phil, very hesitatingly buzzing in here.
I don't think I've even seen this season, but I'm gonna guess this is the couple is Abby Maria and Pete.
What?
Isn't
That
that a
isn't.
thing? No,
That's
that's
incorrect.
Okay,
Phil.
I failed.
Jenny,
failed.
Liana, either one of you want to
They
register?
were-
Yes?
I have
Wait, can you-
absolutely no idea.
I-
Can I
like
read it
not
again?
even an inkling. Nope,
Let's-
it's not gonna help.
Does the Jello mean anything, or is that
I-
just to rhyme with yellow? That's what I'm like. I'm reading too much into. Can we?
Aha! Now's
I
the
bet the Jell-O
conundrum.
is
Does
important.
it
The
mean
Jell-O
anything,
is
or did I just make a stupid rhyme?
No, the Jello's
I do
important.
not like Jello.
Has there been a
Jello's
Jello
gross.
reward?
Imagine.
Who shakes? Who's shaking?
Who's twerking their ass on
Earthquake.
Survivor?
Is that? Oh, you think it's a twerking thing? Who's
No,
shaking?
I hope it is. I don't know.
Are all the? Does every limerick at least include a like romantic
Yeah, so the
kind
power
of-
couple is always going to be a showmance.
So we're not talking power couple like Tyson and Gervais.
No, it's not Tyson and his lovely Gervais.
Okay.
Aw,
Ricky
what a cute
Gervais.
couple, though.
Okay. Let's hear it. Can we hear it one more time, Mike?
Of course, I'll
Run it
read it out
back.
one more time, and then I'll give each of you an opportunity to guess if you'd like to. Started with a shirt colored yellow. We know him as quite a raunchy fellow. Throughout the pre-merge, saw young lovebirds had the urge. Though the guy would sometimes shake like Jello, or quake like Jello, I believe. I misread my last statement.
Who is a raunchy fellow?
You tell me.
A raunchy fellow in yellow. I'm already done. I'm toast.
Oh, I have a guess at least. I also
it,
don't
yeah.
think that this was their color at all. And I will just tell you why. Oh, this doesn't make sense. Okay, my guess is Dr. Mike and then Cole and Jessica.
That is correct.
Nice.
Nice.
No,
That's
that's
so
good.
good.
I was like, who's raunchy?
As soon as
Who's
you said
raunchy?
who's raunchy, that
But I
like,
had no memory of what color that tribe was and what color shirt. Like that is completely.
Oh, you don't remember
blank from my
Dr.
memory.
Mike's like pristine yellow shirt, and by the end, it just looked like a rotten banana?
No.
I don't even
I
remember that
don't.
Cole and Jessica were a couple. I now
Me
have
too.
remembered that they were contestants on Survivor. Like that's my memory of Survivor
Yeah.
history is literally
Yeah.
blank.
I'm
Like,
really-
we
Yeah.
record an episode of the B&B and then that's it. That episode is gone, even from my memory. Like nothing. I remember nothing.
But Liana, here's the difference between your brain and our brain, because I'm the same where like I do a thing and like in the moment I'm like, yeah, all that stuff's up in that brain. I'm using it. And then when it's done, goodbye. You're also at the same time using important brain storage for important smart things. I am
Well, that's a good
not.
thing.
I don't know what else is happening up in there.
Like, what's
Why
in
am I
there
not
that's
storing
more
any of it?
important. Yeah.
But
All
my
equally valid.
So
Song
the
lyric?
raunchy thing helped because obviously I got to Dr.
Mhm.
Mike.
Yeah.
I had a moment where I was like, was he even on a tribe with Cole and Jessica? And they were the healers.
can you
And,
expand
they,
on
and they were
Jell-O?
not only were they the healers, they also made the swap together, and they never voted. So they were there. They played
Oh.
together like every single day until Jessica was voted off.
Aw.
Good.
And also, so no Jello reward, but Cole certainly could have been in need of some because I was referring to that one time
See-
he collapsed.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
Shaking like Jello. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike,
yeah,
you
yeah.
are a poet.
And a
And-
savage, kind of.
Rude.
All right. Well, here's
Okay,
the
I'm,
next one.
I'm
It was
happy.
worth it.
I'm
It was
happy.
worth
Jenny, that was a
I'm happy.
fantastic answer. Great
Hey
pull.
guys,
I'm not
sometimes
just
I have to
passing you
reason
up.
it out. Yeah, talk through
All
it.
right, here we go. Here's your
Mhm.
next limerick. He saw a cross-tribal handshake and decided the showmance must break. Though the boy toy returned, he
Phil?
was immediately spurned, but they both went to acting to do takes.
You just buzzed in, didn't you?
Yeah, Phil, you
yeah,
buzzed
but
in. Go ahead and
I
answer.
backed out. Okay, fine. Oh, yeah, wait.
Can you take
sorry.
back a buzz
No,
in?
okay.
Can't unring that buzzer.
I'm trying to.
I've already forgotten the second half
I'm trying to show off by buzzing in before anyone else can, but then I'm like, fuck, I should have listened to that whole thing.
Yeah, because I didn't
Mhm.
remember the half because as soon as you buzzed in, my brain said, I've lost.
Okay.
Well, do you want me to read it again? Should we do a
Yes,
mulligan?
please.
Run
here?
it back,
Please run it
Mike.
back,
All
please
right,
run
here
it
we
back.
go. He saw a cross-tribal handshake and decided the showmance must break. Though the boy toy returned, he was immediately spurned, but they both went to acting to do takes.
Here's the thing.
I have no idea.
I think I know what season this might be in reference to.
So
and
remember,
I-
you can guess part of it. You can guess the showmance, you can guess the third wheel. If you
what
want
about half of the showmance? Like,
I'm not giving you 1 point for guessing half of a showmance.
Aw.
Like, half
Then that's
point.
just name a contestant.
Ooh.
What's
That
the
I could
very?
do.
But it's mostly that I
You
just
saw
can't remember
handshake.
people.
Okay, saw handshake. Oh, hello, Phil.
Yes.
It's
Hello.
Adam and Figgy and Taylor.
That is incorrect.
Fuck.
No.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. No, I think because the important thing I think about this limerick is a man came back. So I'm like thinking like someone coming back from like Redemption Island is where I'm kind of stuck on Redemption Island. And let me tell you, I don't remember anyone from that season.
Wow.
Like who's that? What is that?
Matt Elrod.
Matt. Yeah, Matt. And who is he? He had a thing with someone, right?
Isn't it Andrea? No.
Oh, was it? Oh, it was Andrea.
I'm just giving you the answer.
But who is the third wheel
Who
of
saw the
that?
handshake? What
Is it just
handshake?
Rob?
Is it just Boston Rob? I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I've been stealing your info
No,
from
that's
my
okay.
own guess.
I guessed already.
Will Grape.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Grape.
Great.
I'm just
Will Grape. Will
this-
Grape for money.
Boston Rob, Matt Elrod, Andrea Belke.
That is correct.
Any of those? Yeah. Can we give him? He gets a miss.
I don't know.
I will give Phil 1.5 points. I will give Jenny 1.5
I knew the
points.
people. I
Aw.
knew the
want your
people.
pity points.
Because that was the thing. I was
It was
like,
a
this has to
collaborative
be
effort.
Redemption Island, but I
Yes.
forget all of these people.
Yeah.
So
That makes
yes,
sense.
Matt Elrod was booted because Boston Rob saw him shake hands with the other tribe after they lost the challenge and wanted to get rid of him. Of course, he returned, was immediately spurned, and both Matt and Andrea have gone into acting since they have been on the season.
And that was the other thing. I wasn't thinking about Andrea acting. It was more so like, oh yeah, and I forgot Matt Elrod's name. I knew that he became an actor, but I was like, what is that guy's
Bonus
name?
point if you know his acting name.
Oh,
I don't give out points.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
answer that. I
You don't
give out-
know?
I know it because it's talked about all the time, but I'm blanking. Like sometimes I forget common words. One time I forgot the word table. I was like, you put things on it. You sit at it. Study my
That's
brain.
fair. I get it.
It's Swiss cheese, okay? It's there's lots of holes in it.
Well,
But
listen,
anyway,
at
I'm
least
glad
the-
at least I got there with the
Yeah,
help
well,
of
the
Phil.
one piece of cheese that was routine is, of course, the name Wyatt Nash and not the word
Wyatt
table.
Nash. Because I think I always mix it up with Chase Rice, which is like real.
Well, he sounds like White Nash sounds like a
Sounds like-
country singer, and Chase
exactly.
Rice is a country
Yeah.
singer.
And he also got famous, like became more famous after the show. So I mix
Mhm.
these people up. It's so good. And then all these people with like second names, it's like, oh, we call him Fabio, but that's not his name. That's not his name.
Yeah, say
Oh,
it, tell
his
it to
name is
Sifu.
Fabio.
All right, well, let's move
Sifu.
on to the next
Mm.
one. Liana,
Good.
yet to get on the board.
Nailing it.
There's more
I think so.
chances, including with this next limerick. Starting on the tribe of Jean Hu, she watched the Virgin attempt to pitch woo. Though their post swap was good, they got blindsided by wood. But at least she loved to play Sudoku.
Oh, Grape.
There, look at Jenny.
Okay. So the third wheel is PG?
That is correct.
And the couple is, what the hell is their name? Jamie and I forget that guy's name. Jamie, and they were virgins, and they're like, aren't they still together? Then they get married. What the hell?
Still virgins.
They're still virgins to this day.
Good for them.
Jamie and I'm never gonna get it, but
All right, well, I will give Liana and Phil the opportunity to get 2 points to make this more competitive if you know the name of the couple.
No, I have no idea.
the girl is Jamie though, right?
The girl is
Jonathan,
Jamie,
Jonathan.
and the boy, how dare you, Jenny, forget the inimitable Eric Huffman from Survivor
Eric.
China.
Eric,
The man who
yes.
made goat noises.
You could have told me that man's name, and I would have never even known he was on Survivor. Like, that's the level that we're playing with right now.
And this is why, like, Mike writing these is so magical because he knows so much. So
I
he's
know.
able to make like the smartest references, and they are just
know.
wasted on our
I'm like-
Swiss cheese brains.
I'm sure these are all so clever, and to me, it's
People
just a
are
mishmash
listening-
of
Well, you're too
words.
kind. You're too
the
kind.
hardcores are listening to this and being like, these effing idiots, and getting every single one, and I'm happy for them.
Ah.
But
we gotta-
I feel like I'm reasoning it out. I just
No,
don't
you're doing a
remember
good job.
people's
You guys are doing a
names.
great job.
All right, well, here comes your next one.
I love
she's
them. They're so
she's
good.
known as part of a pair. They all had to vote out Papa Bear. She was not one to stay calm. Recognizable survivor mom. In loved ones visits, she did not share. Now this one's gonna be a little difficult because the couple's not really mentioned in this. So the
So
third
it's
wheel
mostly
is
just with the third wheel.
it's mostly about the third wheel. If you can get the couple, mazel. I'll read it one more time. Where was it? She's known as part of a pair. They all had to
Oh.
vote out Papa Bear. She was not one to stay calm. Recognizable survivor mom. In loved ones visits, she did not share.
Oh my god. Okay. I have a couple of ideas. I'm so bad at seasons and like mixing up which season's Papa Bear? Which seasons do you know which season's Papa Bear was?
I want to say 23, South Pacific. No, maybe not.
No. Oh my
Or
god.
is it fans
This
or
is
state? I
this
have no
is
idea.
Liana, do you have? I have
Nope.
I have guesses. I don't have
do not know.
I don't have guesses on the couple though. That's
You
where
can
I
just guess
maybe
the
need
third
to.
wheel, yeah.
So I think the okay, is it Monica Culpepper?
It is not Monica Culpepper.
Is it
Phil,
Yes, Phil?
is it Don Meehan?
It is Dawn Meehan. Now,
Okay.
for an extra 2 points, who is the couple?
South Pacific?
Who was the couple on? Was it
Oh,
on South
oh,
Pacific or was it on?
Do I wait?
Mhm.
Do I
Yes,
get a chance?
I will say it was on South Pacific. No, sorry, Jenny, you are
Damn,
out.
I'm out of it.
Oh boy.
I was while Phil's thinking. So behind my Monica guess is when you said they're part of a pair, I was like they're part of a pair that played Survivor, and so I was like Monica and Brad played Survivor, but then I was like, what? When was there ever a couple that Monica was a? Perhaps Tyson and Gervais.
Yeah, exactly.
If we were
all
including,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was
don't
trying
know.
to pull it out of the recess of his brain.
I don't know.
So he did not think about, of course, Amazing Race, famous, Whitney and Keith.
Oh,
Oh,
I had them pocketed in my back. Like I had
Yeah.
them, and I was like, "This is going to come up. You know, it's going to be a Whitney and Keith.
I feel like
it's going to come up. I just didn't know what season.
also did I hear Whitney Duncan come up on a podcast recently, or was I just thinking about her randomly yesterday?
Maybe we're just thinking about
Who
her.
doesn't?
It's just
We
Who
just
doesn't?
every now and then I just
doesn't?
think about Whitney Duncan.
Whitney Duncan is
Yeah.
really the Roman Empire of Survivor content creators.
Yeah,
Everyone's
she's
just
really-
thinking about her once a day.
Are they still
Are-
together too?
Yes, they're still together.
Wow. We love
Love
we love on Survivor.
All right, here's your next limerick. Though early on she lost her sis, spent the whole season watching them kiss.
Yes, Phil!
No!
I heard Phil first. I heard for.
Damn
I love how you're both saying it at the same time, and then both said "damn it" like the other one got it. I'll give it to Phil here.
The couple is Jacqueline and Jonathan.
Mhm.
Is it Jonathan or John? I don't
I think
know.
it's Jon, so probably Jonathan.
And
John.
the third wheel is my beloved Natalie Anderson.
That is correct. Yes.
biggest
Phil
Survivor
has tied the
crush.
score of the full limerick. Though
Right.
early on she lost her sis, spent the whole season watching them kiss, had pasta in bed with a couple that wed, won the season, and Survivor, miss.
Ah.
Wow. That's a good
clever.
one.
That's a good one.
Ah, man, I knew that one. I was just not fast enough.
I was yelling
I know.
into your ear probably too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's chaotic. It's fine.
Anyways,
All right,
I'd still
here's
lose.
your next one.
there's more.
He went on a challenge run. 5 immunities is what he won. But on his first season, he was the reason that Ken and Barbie had purgatory fun. He went on a
Immunity run.
challenge run. 5 immunities is what he won. But on his first season, he was the reason that Ken and Barbie had purgatory fun.
Who is Ken and Barbie? It has to be an older season, and I'm just it's first season. So
Yeah, well, they only make Barbie references in older seasons.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, Survivor 47, they might be bringing it back considering how popular the Barbie movie was. Well, there might be an episode called He's Just Alan.
Liana, what do you got?
I got nothing.
You got it?
It's been nice to have
Just
been
wanted to
here
check.
for this game.
Just
Liana
wanted to
is
check.
a literal spectator at the moment.
Yeah,
Just giving
it
up.
is. I'm
Just-
the audience right now.
You're doing a challenge,
Not
and this is
the
you just like
audience that
sitting down
knows.
at the puzzle, being like, "I can't do this. I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to win."
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't.
Let's
I've
work-
like genuinely no idea. Like all of these. The only one I knew was the Natalie Anderson one, and I couldn't remember the couple.
Ugh.
And that's
It was a
the
tough one.
extent of my knowledge. So
Okay. Challenge run. These
Like,
are things I
First,
don't know.
he's a
When
double season person.
Yeah.
when Mike first said like they went on a chat, I was like, oh, good for them, whoever that was.
Happy for
I'm
you.
happy for that
Oh.
person.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
good for them.
well done.
And
well
they played
done.
more than once. That's great.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. I
Who's
love that.
Ken
Good
and
for them.
Purgatory fun.
What does that mean?
So I feel like it's an implication that the person somehow isolated these two people onto like an exile island or
Oh,
some
that's a
type
good-
of thing. So what seasons had Exile Island? And
Ooh,
had like two people go that wanted to bang each other.
Ken and Barbie.
Ken and Barbie can like Sir Squiddington can.
No.
That's too obvious. If you just say he don't think he was in a showmance either,
And
and he only played one time. God, but oh geez.
What seasons had Exile Island?
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Phil,
Yes, Phil, go ahead.
is this Adam and Figgy and Taylor?
It is not. Nope.
Fuck.
Keep going back to that well. I'll give it to you here, unless
Ooh,
Jenny has an
ooh.
idea.
I have like no. It's a throw. I don't think that this person won 5 immunities. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Adam didn't win 5.
Yeah,
immunities.
that's the other thing.
stupid. Jesus
Adam
Christ.
Klein, the challenge beast.
I did it,
Oh.
Jeff.
Is it? I there's something there and I can't access it. I'm sorry.
Who's won a lot?
But
of
I'll let you-
challenges, has
I'll
been
let
on
you-
2 seasons, at least.
I want to.
Did Malcolm win a lot of challenges?
Yeah,
Did Joe Anglim win a lot
Who's
of challenges?
it's? I'm stuck on the Ken and Barbie part and like the purgatory fun. It's like if that truly was like an exile or a redemption. I'm just struggling to remember what seasons those had. Anyway, it's fine.
Just give
Mike.
it to us, Mike.
Put us
All
out
right.
of
Give it
misery.
to us.
Well, you mentioned someone close to said third wheel with one of your guesses a couple of answers ago. The third wheel is one Brad Culpepper. The showmance is the Ken and Barbie of Blood versus Water, Candace and John Cody.
Oh.
I don't think I would have gotten there.
If
He
you,
won
gave me
5?
2 or 3 more hours, I would have gotten there.
He won 5. He won 5 immunities.
Yeah,
Good
Game
for
Changers
him.
won 5.
Oh,
He's
and
a beast.
Game Changers.
him. Good for
Yes.
him.
That's what it's
Okay,
hitting.
so
In his-
he won 5 in Game Changers,
But in his first
in the
season, he
first
was
season,
the
okay.
reason Ken and Barbie had purgatorial
I
fun.
think that I was trying to think of all of those things happening in the same season.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah.
These limericks are all bars.
Man.
Bars.
Thank
Killing
you.
it, Mike.
That means a lot coming from you, Phil. All right, we've got a couple
Aw.
more for Liana to surge ahead
Nice.
to a victory.
I'm rooting
She
for her.
saw a romance
Same.
of the nerds get ended with a twist that's absurd. Threw herself into fire, hoping the jury
Oh,
would admire.
grape! I forgot my word.
All right, well, Phil,
Okay.
almost
Aw.
in for a
So
second
the
as well.
couple is Franny and Matt,
Yep.
and the third wheel is I forgot the clues. Just think about the season.
I'm ready to steal.
We just watched the
I'm
season.
ready to steal.
The third wheel.
God, I hope your brain
Should
is
I
Swiss
just-
cheese right now.
Should I just get? I just throw it out there. Who's
Yeah,
hanging
throw a
out
name
with
out
Matt
there.
and Franny?
Don't you want me to get
No,
a
fine,
point?
go. Do
All
it.
right,
quick.
who is it, Jenny? Who's the third wheel?
Heidi.
That is correct. So Jenny
Just threw into
bring
the
score
fire.
within a point of each other. Yes, she saw a romance of the nerds get ended with a twist that's absurd. Obviously, talking about the Matt Blankenship boot, She threw herself into fire, hoping they would admire, but the other islander they preferred.
I should have got that. I just forgot I'm writing the limerick. Oh wait, we're done, right? That's it?
No, we got one more.
One more. What's the score? Where are we at?
So here's where we're at.
He's so competitive.
Because things have gotten very intense right now. We're in a bit of a barn burner. Liana, unfortunately, you're our 0 vote finalist at the moment. But at this moment, Phil, you are at 10.5 points. Jenny, you are at 9.5 points.
Ooh.
So we have one question left. It could go to either one of you here.
Hope I remember my word.
Your final limerick. Everyone remember their buzzwords.
I'm telling you. Just make it your name.
Here we go.
I might forget it.
Part of the force, try. He helped them hoard some supplies. He has MTV fame, the second of his name. He probably likes to get high. Part of the force, try. He helped them hoard some supplies. He has MTV fame, the second of his name. He probably likes to get high.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm so close. The problem is I don't remember stupid names like Triforce.
How dare you?
I just mean I don't remember if people called themselves things like this, especially if it wasn't a super long running thing.
I kind of just want Liana to get this one so that I just win.
That's effed up.
Okay.
I mean, if neither one of you get it, Phil wins. So Jenny really.
This
is all on me.
She's got to shoot your shot. I can just chill. I'm not even gonna guess because I don't want to give you anything.
Can I hear it again, Mike, please?
Of course you can. Part of the force, try. He helped them hoard some supplies. He has MTV fame, the second of his name. He probably likes to get high.
Okay, so important things here, and I shouldn't talk this out loud because then Phil will just steal it. But who has been on MTV? Oh, the challenge. Oh, Grape.
Yes, Jenny, for the win.
The third wheel is Jay Starrett, and the couple is Figgy and Taylor.
Congratulations, Jenny Grapebottom. You pulled it out in the end.
Wow, there was a Figgy and Taylor.
Second of his name was confusing me.
Because he was the second J. Was Jay Byers was the first? Okay.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. And hoarding some supplies, if you remember Jay and Taylor took the mason jars and hit them.
I remember that, but I couldn't remember that Jay was there.
I was thinking Jericho from Australian Survivor.
No, I actually remember and if it weren't for the fact that you kept saying Figgy and Taylor, I don't know that I would have been accessing them in my brain. You brought them up. So you actually did help me by guessing Figgy and Taylor a couple times. They started living in my Swiss cheese brain, which allowed me to, and the MTV, I was like, what's on MTV? I'm like, who's been on Cribs? I
Ryan
forgot
Ulrich, this is my crib. Here's my tent and I'm on my shirts.
Here's my dog bed turtleneck.
Turtlenecks. Yeah, so, and then the Triforce was the oddly named alliance of Figgy, Taylor, Jay, and Michelle. For some reason, they named themselves the Triforce.
The Triforce?
The famous prefix for four. Try.
Yeah, very confusing. It took me, it was trying to figure out who has been on MTV, and then I was like, what show is on MTV? And I was like, The Challenge.
That's ridiculous nowadays. So yeah, unless we're on the
not always on MTV. Yeah. So
well, congratulations. Jenny and Phil, I mean, you both killed it, to quote
said
MTV show in this game.
Stomach.
Liana, sorry for you. Got nothing for you.
That's all right.
You're not
figured.
Going to the pit. Well, I'll keep the microphone on the two of you because, of course, at the end of every week here on the B&B, our guests get the opportunity to highlight a charity or cause that is important to them. Do you two have one or perhaps two in mind?
I have one. I've shouted this one out before. It's been a while though, so I'll give them another shout today. So it's IAPMD.org. So it's the International Association of Premenstrual Disorders, I believe is the new name. It's near and dear to my heart and my experience. It has given me a lot of resources that have helped my health journey. It has certainly saved a lot of lives. And yeah, so it's iapmd.org. It's very easy to figure out how to donate on their website, and super.
Yeah, and I guess food banks.
Yes,
in
Canada food banks
are at an all-time high, and they
think-
could use some help because people are hungry.
Yeah, like the food, especially, I don't know, it's probably the same in the United States, but like the food bank situation in Canada right now is like super dire. So
Oh, wow.
I think the best website is probably just thefoodbank.ca, and then that will allow you to donate to your local food bank,
Cool.
especially around the holidays.
Yeah, of course. Listen, we are watching people starve on Survivor, but that doesn't mean that everyone needs to outside of this island-based
Please do
reality
not.
show
Yes.
that we're on.
Mhm.
And look, we could also see how people act when they're hungry. Look at what happened to Drew this week. So if you want to
You just
prevent that
needed
sort of
some
moodiness,
banana pez.
exactly, just need to pop a couple banana pets. It's like a Snickers. So feel free to check that out. Both very great causes. This was great. Listen, the car that we were
It was
driving, no
great.
matter how many wheels, it was great. We dragged ourselves across the finish line here. Had a great time talking about Survivor, past, present, and perhaps future. Let's go around the horn. I'd love to hear from each of you as you give your plugs. Who is your winner pick? Who's winning, taking it all this time next week? Jenny, I'll start with you.
Oh, me first. Okay.
Yes.
In terms of plugs, follow me at Jenny Autumn. Follow or subscribe to the Hit or Quit feed, where Chappelle and I will be back this week, very soon, to get caught up on House of Villains, with the finale coming very, very quickly. I think that's robazwebsite.com/hit or quit feed. And my winner pick, it feels like the very obvious thing, but I will go with D.
All right.
Mhm.
Phil, what about you?
So first of all, follow Jenny Autumn on Twitter and all social media platforms. Listen to Hit or Quit.
And
her
FBoy Island.
House of, I
Sorry.
was getting to it.
Oh, I know. I
House
felt
of
that I
Villains,
forgot.
coverage with Chappelle, and also don't forget about FBoy Island with Kirsten McGinnis.
We just recorded the finale.
They just recorded the finale, so check that out. To
Hot
be
Dummies on
contrarian, to be not an edit reader.
Didn't
to
you
be
pick Gabler when we?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Jake
icon.
O'Kane because he's gonna have to do a lot, obviously.
Got an idol.
But I feel like, someone with his presence, if he's not there with D or like maybe, I don't know, like I feel like there's a way for him to riz the jury. So that's what I'm rooting for. I love me some Jake O'Kane, and yeah, shout out to Jake O'Kane.
Amazing. Liana, what about you? Shout outs, plugs, winner pick.
Yeah. So I don't know. Masked Singer, Lego Masters, those are both out. And I was on 90 Day Fiance also for guesting for this past week. So all that's out there. And then for me, winner pick, it's D. I'm with Jenny on this one. As much as I wanted to do like a Coutura pick to be contrarian, I can't in my heart of hearts. I feel that it's D. So I gotta stick with her.
All right. You can follow me at a Mike Bloom type. You can check out all the coverage I do of Survivor. Obviously, as I talked about, had an interview with Drew that shed a lot of light on a lot of things, some of which I mentioned in this podcast. But of course, you want to check out the full thing. Always a great time talking with Drew. Also, the Amazing Race finale aired this week. Very exciting Amazing Race finale. I talked with all three teams there. I did coverage of Big Brother Reindeer Games, which has been like the surprise hit of the season. Perhaps I got to talk with the second and third boots from that season about an incredibly emotional episode of
That was a good
Big
interview.
Brother. Thank you. And then also if you watch the show, check out the Thursday night recap. There is a party crasher there that might take the money for like best RHAP appearance of the year, coming in right at the close of 2023. So you can check that out. I'm also covering Battlestar Galactica and Fargo over on post-show recaps, and you can check out everything I'm doing, including my cameo for the holidays at a Mike Bloom type. If you want to find out who I think will win, you're gonna have to find out Monday afternoon
you
the
sly
drama.
dog, Mike Bloom.
because I
The
am not
tease.
done talking Survivor this week just yet. I will be back with Rob Cesternino doing our seasonal feedback show on Monday. I don't know if the time has been released yet, so I'll wait for that. But of course, we'll be taking questions from you all, both live and sent in. So make sure you send them in if you have them. I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot of silly, stupid shit alongside it. There is one particular item of business that is Survivor tangential that I know we need to talk about. So there's going to be a lot of fun to be had. It'll probably be a long, wordy, yet hopefully fun time as always.
What's your guess on the time for that? You want to
I'm
do
thinking
like
I'm thinking it's going to be, I'm aiming for the same amount of time that we'll spend on the finale, which is 3 hours. That's my guess at that point. I think we'll do either slightly under or slightly over, but I think it's going to be in that range. If Rob doesn't just like end the StreamYard when it gets to that point because he's
and who's
tired of
doing the
hearing from me.
bookkeeping? Where do I place my bets?
Yeah.
Where do I place?
Guys, if you go to DraftKings.com, it's actually the first bet you see up there. It's plus 500 of under 2.5 hours. And I think it's over 15 sexual references that I make. So please get your bets in. Get that
Same
money.
game parlay?
Well, I can't wait to leave a voicemail pimping you into doing a freestyle rap, Mike Bloom.
Oh boy. Well,
That's what he's going to spend the rest of his day on. Is actually
if you want to see me flop sweat, you can check that out tomorrow and have an a panic attack on live podcast. You can check that
I
out.
don't want that.
So next week, after all that happens, we'll be back post finale. A winner will be announced. We'll have the reunion. We'll have probably a clip from Survivor 46 to look forward to, and we'll be breaking it all down again, Liana and myself, alongside Chappelle. Will be a very fun time, I'm sure, giving our overall thoughts on 45, which I think we've all been really enjoying, but I know for a lot of people, it all depends on how the plane lands, I should say, not the plan lades. But we'll see the plans and the planes and how they finish their journey coming up this week. Thank you all so much for listening. We have one more week for game ideas. As Felipe showed, you can send us in game ideas still, and we will use them. So feel free to reach out, rhapbnb@gmail.com or hashtag rhapbnb on social media. Special thanks to Scott St. Pierre and the entire RHAP team behind the scenes for editing this podcast to get it out to your ears and eyes, and Will from America for his fantastic theme song. We'll be back this coming weekend to recap the finale of Survivor 45. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.